welcome back. Cage Kiplinger, Logan Hubert. This is the K&L Sports Huddle episode number 41. This week we'll be recapping week 15 of the NFL. Of course, our week 16 picks against the spread and previewing the first round matchups of the college football playoff this Saturday and Friday. Actually, we get a game on Friday, as well as we're going to be taking a look at a bombshell story that came out of college football last week. So, Logan, it's good to see you again. Ready when you are for weekly Whiplash.
Yes, sir. Okay, starting in the MLB, big news. First baseman Pete Alonso, formerly with the Mets, is now signed with the Baltimore Orioles, which could be considered a major splash. That might be putting it lightly. Yeah, big get for the Orioles, and interesting that the New York team lost the top guy to a. I would consider Orioles a small market, but a smaller market for sure than the New York market. So interesting, definitely good for the sport in my opinion. And big news, Saturday college football. Not much football going on. We had Army Navy, of course, but the big news, of course, was the Heisman Trophy presentation, and Fernando Mendoza, Indiana Hoosiers quarterback, became the first Indiana University player to win the Heisman, the first Cuban American to win it, and the first Big Ten player since Troy Smith in 2006. So it's about 19 years. Yeah. How good the Big Ten's been. And college football's not like they've sucked. Yeah, pretty shocking that he's the first to do it since that. But yeah, much deserved. I mean, without a doubt, like one of the most underwhelming Heismans of all time. I mean, there were several years where he would barely be fourth on the ballot. But someone's got to win it, and he was clearly the best option. I mean, he clearly deserved it. Best player on the best team. Yeah, I no issues with it at all. Fully deserved. Good for IU. Another thing they could put on this magical season. Now it all just turns to the playoff for them. In wrestling news, WWE legend John Cena has officially been sent into retirement with an epic career-ending submission by Gunther. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll come back every now and then for celebrity, whatever. But, yeah, big news for the WWE fans who watch. And in the NBA, this happened last night. We're recording this on Tuesday, but Cooper Flagg became the youngest player in NBA history to score 40 points in a game, beating LeBron James. Granted, they lost in overtime, but his team's pretty bad. But still, huge accomplishment nevertheless. He's still 18. I think he turns 19 maybe in just a few days. But yeah, still got off with a little shaky start, in my opinion, mostly because they asked him to do too much as a rookie. But now that he's settled into his role, it's pretty clear that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with throughout his NBA tenure. Any comments, gripes on what I just said?
They always lose their final match to one of the current stars of the WWE. So yeah, some people think that it was such a good thing for him to let the newer crop of superstars beat him, but this isn't anything new with the WWE. As far as Fernando Mendoza winning it, yeah, he was the most deserving. I think he was an undefeated team, ranked number one, took down Oregon, Ohio State, but I think you've said it a lot that defense really carried that team. And it was funny. I've seen a lot of posts comparing his stats with Joe Burrow's from 2019, and it's night and day. I was surprised to not see a guy like Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech in a year that wasn't big on offense and outstanding quarterback play. To have a defensive player like him get in and maybe even win it would have been pretty cool to see, just in a down year for quarterbacks at least.
Well, I mean, not just Joe Burrow. You compare Mendoza's stats to, I was seeing, comparing it to Aiden O'Connell from Purdue just a few years ago. They're almost exactly the same.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I mean, it just shows that, that, I mean, statistics don't tell the whole story
Right.
because, I mean, they were
Otherwise,
up.
Diego
He
Pavia would
didn't,
have
he didn't,
won.
yeah, he didn't play half the time. Mendoza didn't even play the whole game because his team was up so much, and they put his other brother in.
Right.
They put his brother in to quarterback. So yeah, I mean, the stats will tell the whole story. I'm not taking away anything from him because he was the most deserving. Yeah, like we said, glad to see Pavia did not win it because that's
Not a good look
not
afterwards.
a good look. Yeah, not a good
If
look.
he's trying to get into the NFL, man, at his size, he has to be a stand-up citizen. Because if they had problems with Shadur Sanders, with how much talent he has, good
Well, I'm
luck.
sure the
Good
Browns
luck,
will. I'm
Diego.
sure the Browns will give him a chance. I'm sure the Browns will give him a chance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
sure.
going to stacked up with like 6 quarterbacks in
Yeah.
their depth chart. The Pete Alonso deal, that's huge for the Orioles, but it's a good move to sell tickets. Makes this one of the most exciting lineups coming into next season, but won't matter a whole lot if they don't get some pitching acquisitions to back it up. It's their biggest weakness. They definitely need to make a splash, at least with a starter or two in this offseason, whatever's left of it. So, yeah, it's a great move as far as excitement, selling tickets, big lineup booster, but one of their issues last season was pitching, giving up a ton of runs. So yeah, they definitely need to back that up with some pitching acquisitions. All right, that's our weekly Whiplash. Let's move on to our NFL Spotlight, recapping the best aspects of Week 15. We'll start with our game of the week, and that's the Packers and Broncos. It has to be this one. This was one of those late season matchups that actually felt like December football, playoff stakes, momentum swings, big plays on both sides. Denver comes out on top, 34-26. And the story here is Bo Nix continuing to grow up in real time. Over 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and he looked completely in control. But the turning point was the Broncos defense. Pat Surtain making a massive interception that flipped the game when Green Bay was still hanging around. This was a statement win for Denver and one that really solidifies them as a legitimate playoff team. So I'll ask you, is this more about Bo Nix taking a real leap, or was this game decided by Denver's defense making the one play Green Bay couldn't?
I mean, I mean, it's still to the point where I still don't know if Bo Nix is good or not. Uh, yeah, I mean, absolutely amazing performance, and he's had a few of those, but then he also will come back another week. I mean, him and Jordan Love are very similar in my opinion. You could have easily flipped the stats of both teams, and it would be a possible outcome, a realistic possible outcome to this game if it was played again. I mean, yeah, I'd say this says more about Knicks because we already knew the Broncos defense was really good. But Knicks against a good playoff team, although they did lose Micah Parsons for the year, like I would say for sure with the torn ACL. So definitely won't be as good going forward. But still, yeah, I mean, performing that well against at the time, Super Bowl contender, uh, it says a lot about Knicks. And we'll see if he continues to play like that.
All right, our stat that told the story had to go with Josh Allen's 5 straight touchdown drives in the second half. He's pulling off comebacks, and you know, with the 5 straight touchdowns, they were down 21-0 early in this one. I sent a message to you, the holy 2010s. The Patriots are blowing out the Bills, and the Bills look dead in the water. Then Josh Allen put on his cape again and led those drives in the second half. It's elite quarterback play, something we've come accustomed to with him. It was sustained offense. This wasn't just like a fluky situation. It wasn't short fields. It was drive after drive, flipping the game. Buffalo wins 35-31, and that second half is the perfect snapshot of why Allen is one of the most dangerous players in football. At what point does this stop being impressive and start being, this is just who Josh Allen is when things go sideways?
Yeah, you make a great point, especially about the. Yeah, I mean their offense still had to work. They had to work for those touchdowns because the Patriots weren't really turning it over, and yeah, they had to march down the field consistently against a Mike Vrabel-led defense on the road, and they did they did very successfully with their backs against the wall. I mean, now they still have a legitimate shot at the division now because of hero Josh Allen. So, massive win for me. I thought the Patriots would win because of the bye, coming off the bye, and I think we saw that in the first half that they were clearly the more rested, more prepared team at first. But then Josh Allen said, "Yep, this is still my division for now. Drake May, you just have to wait." And yeah, very entertaining game. This one was definitely in contention for game of the week, I would say, because it also came down to the wire. So the AFC East race is going to come right down to the wire. It looks like big game for the Patriots this week that we'll talk.
Yeah, it tracks that Buffalo has the highest point differential in the first half, and or actually New England has the highest point differential in the first half, and Buffalo leads in point differential in the second half. So it just basically told that story, wrote itself right there. This week, looking at our player spotlight, we're doing it. It's Trevor Lawrence, and I'll be honest, this is not something I say lightly. I've been pretty down on Trevor, as you've probably heard, for most of his career, because for a guy who came into the league with can't miss hype, the results just haven't consistently matched that label. But this game, it did feel different against the Jets, who I still think have a good defense with the crop of players that they have. Lawrence throws for 330 yards, 5 touchdowns, adds another score on the ground, and more importantly, looked completely in control from start to finish. This wasn't about his athleticism, saving broken plays. It was timing, anticipation, confidence. If this is the version of Trevor Lawrence we're getting down the stretch, then yeah, I'm finally ready to give him his flowers. Is this the turning point where he actually starts living up to the hype, or is this still just a great game that needs to be proven over time?
Definitely still needs to be proven because it was the Jets. But yes, it was great to see him play a game where not all of his scores weren't fluky, and despite all the good things he did, he also did bad things that kind of kept the other team in it. Because yeah, he didn't really make any mistakes in this game, which is exactly what you're supposed to do against a bad team. And yeah, he put up a random 44 burger in fantasy from what I saw. So, which I don't see from quarterbacks very often.
No.
So yeah, credit to Lawrence, credit to Liam Cohen. If this is the new Trevor Lawrence, then yeah, Cohen deserves a lot of credit because there's kind of been what seemed like an internal battle between all year. It seemed like Cohen's not been pleased with Lawrence and stuff, but if he's able to get the best out of Trevor Lawrence, that's huge for the rest of the AFC because the Jaguars are going to be a team to not want to be messed with.
Yeah, and they've been on a run recently. I think it's like 5 straight from them, and like you said, give a lot of credit to Liam Cohen, first-year head coach. He's definitely made some strides, and you've seen the growth from not only Lawrence but him as well, and being able to be the play caller for this offense. So, big game for them this week. One of the best games that I'm looking forward to on the slate. But we'll get right to that because now it's time for the spreadsheet. It is our picks against the spread for Week 16. Excited for this week's games, Logan. Prime time spots are much better than last week. And we also have Saturday games. We got a couple as the NFL moves in on college's day as we get to playoff time in college. I mean, at least one good game, I feel like, in every time slot. But first, how did you do last week? Was it a good week for you?
No, it was not. 7-9. I did my dirty dog, but I did the ones I called were good. I got my dirty dog right. The Chargers beat the Chiefs, and then my lock of the week, never in doubt. Mike Tomlin against Tua in the cold, and we saw full on Tua in the cold.
It's a meme at this
on
point.
Monday night. Yes, so the 3.5 Steeler favorite. That was such an easy bet. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah. But other than that, I was not very good.
I was, trying to decide on that Monday night game. I'm glad I went with you on that with Pittsburgh, even with the hook. Turned out to not even matter. My lock went through with the 49ers taking the Titans on that 12.5 point spread. It got really
Oh,
close.
man. Well, the Titan. You need to thank Shanahan for taking that field goal at the
I
end.
feel
Because
like he knew what the spread was and
yeah,
knew I needed that. Dirty dog streak comes to an end with the Cardinals not able to cover the 9.5 point spread. So yeah, so that was it ends the streak for my dirty dogs. But hopefully, I got a couple really good contenders for that this week. And I thought last week I wasn't stressed because my early window picks didn't just like completely fall on their faces. And so it was a balance of like got some early, got some late, and I wasn't banking on all the late games bringing me
yeah.
back to 500. Ended up going 10-6, bringing me still at 52% at this point in the season. I don't think the percentage is going to go up very high unless I string together a bunch of 15-1s. So we'll see what happens this week.
I'm just gonna say I hate this week. I do not like many of these games' lines at all. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe because I've liked them in the past few weeks and haven't done so well. So maybe it don't end up being good. But I don't like a lot of these.
Yeah, a little overview. Both the Raiders and Bengals were shut out last week, and historically that creates value in their next game. Since 2015, teams that were shut out in their previous game are 35, 17, and 3 against the spread, including 5 and 0 against the spread this season. Both the Falcons and Bills are coming off big comebacks last week. In the last decade, teams off a 14-plus point comeback in their last game are just 59 and 78 against the spread in their next game. But it is important to note the Bills are actually 5 and 0 straight up and against the spread in this spot since 2019, trumping the trend themselves in an almost unfathomable fashion. So let's get to the slate. We'll start with Thursday Night Football, as always, a rematch of the best two NFC teams, and we get it in prime time. The Rams at the Seahawks. This line spread is at 1.5 in favor of the Rams. Two division teams, 78% winning percentage or better in December or later. We've only seen one such matchup since the 2013 season, and that came with the Vikings and Lions in Week 18 last year to win the division. Big thing to know here is no Davante Adams for the Rams, which is huge when thinking about the threat of his red zone targets not being there for Matt Stafford. It's going to be rainy in Seattle. Sam Darnold has been slipping a little lately in this season, but I like the Rams here. Sean McVay has dominated the Seahawks. He is 12-6 against the spread versus Seattle as a coach of the Rams, including 11-3 against the spread since 2019, covering the spread by over 4.5 points per game. With this nearly being a pick 'em, I'll take the reliable team and the Rams. I know we've loved the Seattle Seahawks this season, but we know how it is between home and away splits. They're not as good at home.
So if you recall, these two teams played 4 weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it was obviously at the Rams, and the Rams won by 2. And they only won by 2 despite Sam Darnold having 4 turnovers. I like the Seahawks because of that. How bad Darnold played, and they still only lost by 2. Plus, Seattle is staying at home on this short week. I always think that's an advantage. And they did not play very well on offense last week against a bad Colts defense. And I feel like good teams usually bounce back from that. They usually come back with a better performance after an inspiring performance against a bad team. So I like the Seahawks at plus 1.5. Obviously not my favorite bet because both of these teams are really good. And yeah, like you said, the Davante Adams news isn't ideal for the Rams, especially in the red zone, because man, he clears everybody else in touchdowns this year, receiving touchdowns this year. So yeah, I'll go opposite of you, Seahawks plus 1.5. Okay, first Saturday game, and also the first time these two teams are meeting this year in Week 16. Eagles at the Commanders. Eagles are 6.5-point road favorites, and I like that. I like that it's under 7. Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson might be coming back for the Eagles, which is 2 big pieces for the defensive and offensive line, respectively. And Commanders are a bad team right now. They just came off a nice win, short week. Eagles may have figured stuff out. Their defense has been good this whole time. I mean, there's been no doubt about that. Like you look at their losses, it's just been ineptness on the offense, and because like they put out a shutout last week. Commanders' offense isn't great, so the Eagles' defense should feast. And then the Eagles' offense is going against one of the worst defenses in the league in the Commanders. So I like the Eagles at -6.
Yeah, the Eagles they should blow this team out. But I do think they tend to have problems with mobile QBs, and Mariota, he's a mobile QB. Washington has already said they're sitting Daniels the rest of the year, which I think is a good thing. I think when he's been in there, he not at 100%. It hasn't. It's been worse than when Mariota's out there. So, and I think because Philly scored a lot of points last week, and everyone thinks they got right, I'm going with the Commanders here, at 6.5. I'm not buying it yet with the Eagles. Like I said, they should blow this team out, but I think they keep it close. A fun stat for this: the last time these two teams met was in the conference championship last year, a 55-23 win for Philadelphia. When the Eagles beat an opponent in the previous meeting and Hurts starts in the next game, in that game, Philly is just 19-29-1 against the spread. That is the worst mark of 114 QBs since he was drafted into the NFL. Yeah, I think just with it being a division home dog, I think it can be a close game despite them getting a big win against the Giants last week. So yeah, I'll take Commanders at +6.5. All right, this one's a really good one. Another Saturday game. It's the Packers at the Bears. This one's sitting at -1.5 in favor of Green Bay. At least the last time I checked, it could have flipped by now. Has it? Okay. All right. And so the big story, obviously, we mentioned Michael Parsons tears his ACL out for the season for the Packers. So obviously he's missing this game and the rest of this year. But also Christian Watson injured, but might still play coming into this one. I'm worried that people may be overreacting or overcorrecting after the loss to the Broncos last week and the injuries sustained by Parsons and Watson. LaFleur off a loss on such a low number as this, and I think the Bears have come back down to earth a little bit. They got a bad Browns team last week, so that was no problem. But if you're on Chicago, you're betting Caleb to be able to make the plays out of the pocket. But I think for me, this week might be the week to jump off the Bears train. The Bears have been an incredible fade in divisional matchups the past few seasons. They're 1-3 against the spread versus the NFC North this year, 9-18-1 against the spread over the last 5 seasons, and 12-26-2 since 2019. All being the worst mark for any team in the NFL in those spans. I get that this year is a little bit different with Ben Johnson as the head coach, being able to call the plays for them, but with this, I like the Packers to bounce back in this situation. I'm taking Green Bay.
So no Micah. Plus, this is Green Bay's second straight road game against a Navy and Orange team on a short week. A good Navy and Orange team on a short week could do. Like this game was close at Lambeau 2 weeks ago. It came down to a horrible Caleb Williams interception at the end. That was the difference from it probably going to overtime. And I just want a gripe here. We saw this last game. We're seeing it now. We have another game later. I hate division games that are just 2 weeks apart. I hate it. Like, what if a guy went on IR the week before? Like let's say the quarterback gets hurt and he's out 4 weeks on IR. He's guaranteed to miss both of those games. It's just, I just don't like it. I feel like they need to be more
I feel like
out.
it's happened with a handful of teams this year.
This year especially. I don't know what's going on with the scheduling. But yeah, I'm going to go opposite you. If it was the culture of Ben Johnson's just said, I feel like this just seems like a bounce back against the Packers win for them. If this is like Eberflus or like one of their previous coaches, I wouldn't feel very confident. But I just think things are different in that culture. So I like the Bears at plus 1.5. Okay, the Sunday slate. We are starting off with the Bills at the Browns. Bills are 10.5-point road favorites. So if you watched the Browns Bears game the other on Sunday, Shedeur did absolutely everything he could to win that game. All of his teammates let him down. In my opinion, Shedeur, I mean, it's just, yeah, they need a free Shedeur because obviously he did nothing wrong in that game.
I sense some
Um,
sarcasm there, Logan.
yeah. Still though, I'm on him. I'm on his team this week. I like Browns plus 10.5 because I like to ride the inconsistent Buffalo train. Um, they're coming off a huge high now against the Patriots. Do I expect them to Bills to lose this? No, I do not. But I can expect this to be sloppy. Browns defense wasn't great last week. I feel like this could be a good bounce back spot for them at home in December. So yeah, I could see this game being closer than it should. I mean, it'll probably be a low scoring game because the Browns offense is, but I like the Browns at plus 10.5. If it got under 10, I'd probably go Bills, but I like the 10.5 number.
Yeah, big time dirty dog of the week for me here. I love it. This was an easy pick for me. Browns at home, double-digit dogs. That defense. Bills coming off back-to-back comeback performances where Josh Allen put on his cape. He's going to need to put it down, put it away for this one. Honestly, this could be one of those classic scenarios where the Bills lose outright. Just one of those weird games that they always tend to lose every 8 to 10 weeks or so. The only fear is that this Browns team has given up on the season. If this defense wavers at all and gives up a little bit, we could be really in trouble on this one. But this number's too good not to take at 10.5. Browns are home underdogs since 2020. Home underdogs of 7+ points are 81, 52, and 3 against the spread, including 11 and 6 against the spread this season. Double-digit home underdogs have been a good bet recently, going 27, 16, and 1 against the spread since 2020, covering the spread by 3.9 points per game. Love this spot for the Browns. It is my dirty dog of the week, plus 10.5. Cowboys at the Chargers. This one is sitting at 2.5 in favor of Dallas at home. Chargers are underdogs. Feels like the play, but also kind of feels a little chalky, like a chalky underdog pick here. The Cowboys are officially out of playoff contention. Seems like a team to me that would implode if they aren't playing for a playoff spot. Could see maybe some Pickens, just absolute attitude, haywire. But this is also just a situation where you blindly bet Herbert as a dog. The Chargers have been listed as underdogs in 3 games this season, 3-0 straight up in those games, beating the Chiefs twice and the Eagles. That is the most wins without a loss as a dog for any team this year. In Herbert's career, he's 17, 12, and 1 against the spread as an underdog, including 13 and 6 on a road or neutral site. Chargers also have a defense that can get stops, and Dallas doesn't. So not going to back this Cowboys team in this spot, even under that key number of 3.
Yeah, by the law of averages, you feel like the Chargers are due to lose one of these games where they're underdogs, especially since they've won 2 in a row. But I can't do it. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. The Chargers plus 2.5. I said Dallas is dead. That's what I wrote down. I just you can't lose to McCarthy and the Vikings. That humiliating.
Not to 9.
Yeah, at Jerry World. That's just bad. Plus, what I talked about last week, when the Colts need you to lose, you always win. Those teams went 3-0 last week as predicted. Like I said, it always happens. Obviously, the Colts need Chargers still to lose, so easy bet Chargers plus 2.5 as road dogs. Which what is the basis behind that spread? Is
I
there
don't know.
some injury that I don't? I feel like there's an injury I'm missing or something.
I was surprised whenever I saw Cowboys as favorites in the spot.
Yeah, like especially not at 2.5. I don't know. Okay, Chiefs at the Titans. Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. This is my do not bet of the week. Why? Because there is no data of how the Chiefs do in this kind of position. because the Chiefs are officially eliminated from playoff contention. Mahomes is not playing. He tore his ACL, unfortunately. Already had surgery on it, so assuming it went well, it's good news that he could be back. Could be in the recovery process early and
Yeah.
getting back around training camp and stuff. So that's good news for Chiefs fans. But yeah, like I said, this is the do not bet because you just the Chiefs have always been in playoff contention. They've always had Mahomes, so you just don't know how would they play in this type of game. I'm going to go Chiefs at -3.5 just because on paper their roster is better than the Titans. But I feel like that's my only basis. Titans have been playing better, like they should have covered against the 49ers last week, if it wasn't for that field goal at the end. I do think the Titans are playing a little bit better as of recently, but yeah, just going by roster, you got to go Chiefs. But do not recommend betting this game.
Yeah, I want no part of this one. I'm going to take Tennessee with the hook. At 3.5, this dropped 7 points after the Mahomes injury. Definitely should have taken it before he got injured. This number with Minshew honestly should maybe even be a pick. We just don't know. I know I might be kicking myself after this because Andy Reid will devise some sort of creative play calling and just having fun with it, knowing there's not a playoff spot to worry about for Minshew. And I can't get behind this team. I feel like the spirits will be way down after what just happened last week. So I'm going to take the Titans. Like you said, they've been playing a little bit better. Almost covered that spread last week. At home, if that does anything for them in Nashville, I don't know. But at 3.5, I'll take it on the hook. All right. My Bengals at the Miami Dolphins. This one actually has Cincinnati favored by 1.5 points. Another really close spread on the road in Miami. Cincinnati got shut out last week, so you have to pick them this week. It's a good number for them. Obviously, it's the lowest you can get as a favorite. I'd rather back Joe Burrow over Tua when they both come off a loss because I just see after an embarrassing display offensively for Burrow, an offensive explosion could be incoming. As much as we like Tua at home, I like this spot for Cincy better because Mike McDaniel has coached 13 career games where the Dolphins are on short rest. Miami is 3-10 straight up in those games, losing by 8.2 points per game. They've lost 7 straight outright in this spot. In 8 career games as an underdog on short rest, McDaniel is 1-7 straight up, losing by 14.3 points per game. Just give me a big bounce back spot for Burrow, who just I think needs to find the love of football again, and I think he can do that in Miami.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Like you said, the shutout, coming off a shutout, but the Dolphins are at home with Tua. I don't like Joe Burrow's dialogue at the moment, and I'm gonna go the opposite route of you. I don't. I think it's gonna impact him negatively. I don't think there's gonna be a bounce back. I like the Dolphins at +1.5 here. I don't like this. This was close to my do not bet. But the Chiefs Titans clearly took it. I'm going to go Dolphins as home dogs. I mean, other than last night, they've looked pretty decent over the past few weeks. They just finally played in a cold weather game against a good team. So, and plus they're going against the Bengals defense, who's not very good. So it could be a high scoring game. Like maybe the Bengals offense does wake up, but I feel like the Dolphins would too because they're playing against the Bengals defense. So yeah, I like the Dolphins at +1.5. Okay, Jets at the Saints. Another great game. Saints are 4.5 point favorites. I'm taking the Saints. It has nothing to do with the Saints because if they were playing almost any other team, I would bet against them because they're playing too well right now for how limited their roster is. But they're playing against Brady Cook. Brady Cook has thrown 1 touchdown and 5 interceptions in his 2 starts. Their team has not looked very good. The Saints have looked good. They've played inspired football, beating 2 division-leading opponents in a row. And you could Yeah, that's why I don't like that because no, I'm taking the Saints, but normally you don't like that because like, oh yeah, it rose up for the division games. Now they're playing in another team from another conference. They're going to fall flat. But it's the Jets with Brady Cook and the team that's just given up. So, and a Saints team that hasn't given up yet. So the play here, I feel like has to be the Saints at -4.5 at home.
Yeah, Tyler Shook is. I don't know if you've noticed, but he's moved up the Rookie of the Year odds after his recent play. So he was 200 to 1 odds to win Rookie of the Year. He has now been bet down to 16 to 1. The Jets obviously in shambles. Brady Cook lined up to be the starting QB. Um, you know, I don't want the Jets, but I also don't want the Saints in this spot either. 4.5 favorites at home where they haven't been good. They haven't been good at home. Um, it's two bad teams playing against each other. I mentioned to you that I think the NFC South, the most consistent team has been the Saints over the course of this season because the up and down that we've seen from Tampa Bay and Carolina. But it might be time to get off the Tyler Shook train. I'm going with the Jets at 4.5 plus 4.5. It's a it's a dirty pick, almost fit the bill for a dirty dog, except they're playing the Saints. So, um, yeah, if it's just take all the trends out, take whatever you think about.
I'm surprised this isn't your do not bet.
It's just a situation where it's any given Sunday, and these weird games happen. Like you said, Saints back to back big wins over division opponents. I think it's just the right time to get off the train here. It's a 4.5 point spread too, which is kind of one of those weird lines where I think Vegas doesn't really know what to do with it. I think I'll just pick for this game to be close. Is basically what I'm betting here. So yeah, ugly pick, but I'm going with the Jets on this spread. To the other New York team, they're playing at home. The Vikings at the Giants. This one's sitting at 2.5 in favor of Minnesota. The Vikings have all of a sudden started covering and winning. 9 has turned into McCarthy, and they've won in back-to-back weeks, but I cannot bet on McCarthy after 2 good back-to-back weeks. General public will be all over this Vikings team. Total overreaction to McCarthy's past couple performances, but now he's actually playing outdoors for the first time in December after playing at home in Dallas, playing at home and then in Dallas. Coming off an emotional win in Dallas on Sunday Night Football last week. This season, teams coming off a road game in Dallas are 0-6 against the spread. So Giants are a team that are reeling, much like the Jets, after some bad losses, but this is a huge letdown spot for Minnesota once again on the road, and a bounce back spot, I think, for for Jackson Dart and this Giants team. Give me the Giants.
Yeah, I'm going with the Vikings just because it's under 3. I just don't. I mean, Jackson Dart's on pace to be dead in just a few years by all the concussions he's taken, and like is he even playing quarterback? Like, I mean, is he starting? I don't know. No one knows. Like, he's hurt all the time. Like, he gets these concussions, and yeah, McCarthy, I bet's gonna have a bad game. I agree. This is gonna be an ugly game, but I think the Vikings still have better weapons than the Giants, and I feel like their quarterback play. I feel like the Giants' quarterback play will also be bad in this game, no matter who it is, because the Vikings' defense is still pretty good, and it's their offense is just. So, give me the Vikings at -2.5. If it got to 3, it'd be a do not bet. But I just think the Vikings just have the better roster at the moment. Yes, they're coming off 2 good wins. So I think they'll get a third win, but it won't be a good win. It'll be an ugly win. That's my take on it. Okay. Buccaneers at the Panthers. Buccaneers are 3-point favorites. Is that what's going on here still?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I can't wait to watch this game because it's going to be which team wants to shoot themselves in the foot more because neither team wants to win this division. It's very clear. And once again, this is what I alluded to earlier. This is another time where this is the first time these two teams are meeting each other, and they'll meet each other again in 2 weeks. I hate this. Would have been nice to see this earlier in the year and then a late game, but whatever you got, what you got, and I'm going with the Panthers +3 as home dogs because I don't think it was a good look after Thursday night when Todd Bowles was calling out his players and not really taking any blame, shouldering any of the blame for himself, and that collapse against the Falcons. That signals a locker room that's self-destructing, and the Panthers are. I mean, yeah, they got a bad loss. They're a young team, though. I mean, they've been resilient all year, where they have these bad losses, but then they come back and beat the Packers or the Rams. So,
Right.
uh, yeah, I like the Panthers at +3 at home.
Yeah, Panthers as a favorite, you want to fade. That's what they were last week, and but as a dog, they've been really well. They've been really good. So I like this pick here. I'm with you. +3 with the Panthers. Um, Maybe this Bucks team is just bad. Like I know that they've taken a lot of hits with the injuries, and this would usually be a bounce back spot for them. But I like the way this Carolina team plays. Especially with that key number of 3. I think Carolina keeps it close if they don't win this one, but I honestly would maybe double down and pick them on the money line. Um, I think in the long run, if the Bucks, uh, win this division, uh, they get a Buka back, get Bucky Irvin back. Their offense gets clicking. They're a very dangerous playoff team. But in this spot with this number, I have to go Panthers. They let a road game in division slip away last week against the Saints. This season, Carolina is 6-0 against the spread after a straight up loss, covering the spread by 12.8 points per game. The most wins without a loss against the spread for any team this season. So feels like the right play here. I'll go with you on that one. All right, here we go. Jaguars at the Broncos. To me, this is the most interesting matchup of Week 16. um, Denver favored -3. Bo Nix has got it done against better competition than Trevor Lawrence has. Obviously, Lawrence had the game of his life last week. But do we finally get off of Bo Nix and the Broncos this week? Feels like I've been picking them all year.
Or do we get off Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah,
It's a really fun game to break down, but I kind of want to go Jacksonville because as good as Lawrence was, it was also a lot of good scheming by Liam Cohen, and I think that can carry. Nix tends to have a letdown game after a great game, and I think this could happen again. And Jacksonville might be better than this 3-point line is saying, especially because I don't know if the books are giving enough respect to the Jaguars' defense. The Jaguars' rush defense has been something to marvel at. They're allowing just 86.3 yards per game, fewest mark in the NFL by 3.5 yards. They're fifth in rush EPA allowed and second in rush success rate allowed. They're just one of 2 teams this year to not allow any player to rush for 90 plus yards with the Lions, except the Jags haven't even allowed a player to rush for 75 plus yards. So I don't know. At 3, I'm going to go Jaguars here. +3, I like it right there. It's a very interesting game. Definitely one that I'm going to be watching.
I'm in complete agreement with you. You could say they're both coming off highs, but the Broncos are really coming off a high because they beat a contender. And then you forgot to mention the most important detail. The Colts need the Jaguars to lose if they want any chance at winning the South. If recent history in the last 3 years has shown, Jaguars, Jaguars, Jaguars all day. Jaguars +3, I like it. I mean, I feel like I'm honestly surprised it's not a little higher. Like I thought they get to the 3.5, 4, just because I feel like many people probably still don't trust the Jaguars.
Right. I think if you wait, like if you're listening to this and you want to wait on this line, I think it's only going to go up. I don't think it's going to go lower.
Yeah. Yep. But we're both in agreement with the dog here at Jaguars +3. Okay, Falcons at Cardinals, another doozy. I feel like there's a lot of good games and a lot of doozies. That's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes late in the year. Falcons are 2.5-point road favorites against the Cardinals. We mentioned previously how you don't bet the Falcons because you don't know who shows up, but I actually like this bet a lot more than some of these other games. I like the Falcons at -2.5 here. So when Arizona was competitive earlier in the year, it was mostly because their defense was underrated and it was actually pretty good. Well, their defense has fallen off a cliff. I mean, they just allowed C.J. Stroud and the Texans offense to put up 40 on them recently, this week. And yeah, lately they've just been giving up a bunch of points, meaning Jacoby Brissett has to shoulder more responsibility. And while Trey McBride's really good and been getting lots of fantasy points for his owners and been the best tight end this year, if being honest, he's pretty much all they got right now. And yeah, this is more to do with the way the Cardinals have been playing. Kirk Cousins played pretty good last week against the Buccaneers on Thursday night. Plus, the Falcons have longer rest, so I'll go Falcons minus 2.5. You might be in disagreement with me because these are two teams you don't want to bet, but yeah, I do like this bet a lot. Falcons minus 2.5.
This is actually my stay away. I am with you on the Falcons. My only worry is that everyone is off of Arizona, but this could be one of those stupid wins that they get every 8 to 10 weeks. Pretty good spot for the Falcons, though. Teams coming off an outright road win at night in prime time are 78-48 straight up and 73-53 against the spread in their next game over the last 5 seasons. Drake London may be back for Atlanta, so that's good news for them. I mean, the one motivator in this game is Kirk is playing for next season. He's playing to be able to have a job next year. But I hate this game at all. I also don't really care about this game. But the safer option is probably Atlanta. But I don't know. Going to out west. I don't love this, and so it's my stay away pick because I could just see Arizona putting up a stupid game where they come away with a win here. But yeah.
Also, shout out Kyle Pitts for his great game last week, making people draft him high early again next year.
The annual Kyle Pitts game. It happens every year.
This one was different. This one was different, though. I mean, they put up a 40 burgers. That's pretty good. That's for a tight end. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah. Steelers at the Lions. This one at 6.5. The line felt a little inflated going to 6.5. And with Detroit's banged up offensive line still in shambles, but with the hook under 7, I will go with Detroit here, and I'm actually gonna lock it in. My lock of the week is going to be the Lions at 6.5. You might think of this as a Steelers rah-rah spot, Tomlin, but as a big underdog, the numbers are actually not that good when Tomlin is on the road. And as we know, that this team will likely finish 9-8. So they'll need to get that record back to near 500, as they always do. I just think right now with Detroit, the trends will finally, kick in for them. The trends that we love so much about them at home in this situation. So I'm going Detroit Lions as my lock of the week after the Steelers' big win on Monday Night Football.
Lock. We are finally in agreement on a lock of a week. Woo! Lions minus 6.5. Absolutely. 9-8, as we said, is inevitable. They are currently at 8-6, right? Yeah, 8-6. So, they still have the Browns to go too. So that'll be their win. And yes, Tomlin also back-to-back wins for the Steelers. This always happens. They start to get momentum. You're like, okay, finally, this team's going to be a little different. And then they just, then it just falls off. Lions are still, since midway point of 2022, which was when the Dan Campbell era really took off, they are still 14-1 against the spread after a loss. So, yeah, give me that Detroit at home bounce back from a good offensive showing, but a pathetic defensive showing against the Rams. And the Steelers' offense is pretty limited, so this is a great game for the Lions. Defense to get back on track. Yes, lock, hammer it in. The numbers just clearly point to who to pick on this one. Okay, Raiders-Texans. This game, you might want to say a prayer before this game for the Raiders. Texans are 14.5-point home favorites. Raiders have lost 6 in a row on the road by an average of 22.2 points per game. Assuming that trend continues, the Texans are going to be one of the better teams they've played on the road. So the numbers say, okay, 14.5 makes sense to go with the Texans here. To me, yeah, sure, you don't maybe not like the hook at 14, but I don't care. Raiders are bad. Texans are good. It's clear. Texans are home, 14.5. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, it's just fun betting against the Raiders because you feel really good about it. I'm going with Houston on this. Raiders don't even have their offensive coordinator anymore with Chip Kelly. They got rid of him. Pete Carroll's job might be the hottest seat at the table next to Todd Bowles. Yeah, the only way I'd look at this is the Texans are riding so high on their win streak. The Raiders are at their lowest. Might be a buy low, sell high moment here, but
I saw a very interesting stat before I got on. You know which team in the NFL has the fewest players on IR? The Raiders. And they're still that bad. I mean, that's just I
that's
don't even. I mean
impressive.
that's impressively bad. They only have 4 players on IR. I forget who's first with 15, but yeah, I mean, yeah, they're to be to be that bad with that few injuries. Yeah, sure, they have Brock Bowers out for a few weeks, but I mean, come on, you can't.
No.
That game's gonna be ugly.
Yeah. All right. Sunday night football. This one's a good one. Patriots at the Ravens. This one's sitting at 2.5 in favor of Baltimore at home, but I think this is a Patriots bounce back spot. Mike Vrabel on the road after a loss. This season, the Patriots are 2-0 straight up and against the spread off a loss. And as a head coach, Vrabel is 24-18-3 against the spread off a loss. Of the as a head coach of the Patriots and Titans. So impressive stuff. He also did some of that with the Titans. Everyone still thinks the easy schedule makes the Patriots a fraud. And yeah, they got exposed a little bit by the Bills in that second half, but they still also got out to a 21-point lead in the first half. Dominated that first half. Pats fans took a victory lap for that game pretty early on. But the Ravens feel like they're still just a tough team to get a gauge on what we're going to get week over week. Last week was good. They, being the Bengals, shutting them out, but the defense is still suspect. They gave Cincy a lot of opportunities in that game. And I think this Pats offense with McDaniels at the helm makes this a good Pats number at 2.5.
I said last week that I thought the Patriots would split this 2-game stretch between the Bills and the Ravens. I just thought it would be opposite. I'm going to go with that, but I'm going to change the teams. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I like the Patriots here at plus 2.5. Another reason is because we're both so confident the Lions are going to roll over the Steelers. The way this AFC North has gone, that's going to happen in the evening, and come Sunday Night Football, Ravens are going to fans are going to be like, okay, we can take full command of this, and then they're just going to squander this opportunity because that's just how the AFC North has been all year. Yeah, I like the Patriots here plus 2.5 as well. Yeah, the easy schedule thing, I still think it's very true, but you also still have to be a good team, very good team to win all those games. So, yep, Patriots plus 2.5. We are in agreement. Okay, Monday Night Football. 49ers at the Colts. Colts get a primetime game. Oh, that's shocking. That never happens.
With Phillip Rivers.
With Phillip Rivers, who his team played inspired last week. Yeah, I mean, that was also a contender for game of the week. Colts Seahawks. There's just not enough offense in that game probably to win. But yeah, it was a very entertaining game. I understand. I bet the play here, people are going to go with, yeah, that's not going to last for another week. This is going to be a comeback down to earth. And as you know, I've mostly bet against the Colts this year just because I've felt like, yeah, it's going to come back down from their start. And they've burned me a lot of weeks. But I was thinking today of the Colts against every team they've played. So I've been alive since 2000. And I was thinking of every team the Colts play, and in my life, and since I've started watching the Colts in like 05 or something, I cannot recall them ever losing to the 49ers. And I had to look it up. Yes, the Colts have not lost to the 49ers since 2001.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I can clearly recall any game the Colts have lost to any other team. Pick a team, I could probably describe a game they lost to. 49ers, yeah, for some reason the Colts have owned this weird AFC NFC matchup. And if you've been keeping track, I have not had a dirty dog this week. That is because I am fully on the Colts this week at home Monday night against the 49ers, who I I still don't think is as good as their record says they are. Um, they were my Super Bowl pick earlier in the year, but I still think there's too many injuries on this roster. I love the Colts here at plus 6.5. Um, yeah, possibly to outright win this. That's why they're my dirty dog of the week. And if you've not been watching, I've not picked the Colts very much this year, but I love them here in this spot.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going with our
Yeah,
Super Bowl pick in this spot. I'm going with the 49ers. I'm banking on the inspired performance from last week by the Colts for Rivers to not carry over. 49ers offense feels like it's more consistent, and Rivers looks like he was having trouble throwing the ball. He went 2 of 8 passing, 10 plus yards down the field. And I think the number might actually go up by game time. Robert Sala's defense. He's been a genius this year, so I think he might be able to pick apart this offense on the defensive side. And since Brock Purdy came back from injury and replaced Mac Jones, the 49ers are 4-0 straight up and against the spread, winning by double digits in each game. So I like my spot here for the 49ers, but I kind of scared off of it a little bit by your dirty dog of the week with the Colts. But that is our picks against the spreadsheet for week 16. All right, Campus Corner, we got a little bit of time here. Big story before we get to the games. Sherrone Moore, head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. Huge bombshell news, and one that resets the coaching carousel. So we're back in the thick of it. Sherrone Moore, obviously, the news has gotten around. We've seen it for a while now, but got fired for cause amid inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Then he was detained by police in an alleged assault and charged with felony third-degree home invasion and misdemeanor stalking and breaking and entering. The dude absolutely fumbled a dream job in college football, and it just happened all of a sudden. But apparently, Michigan knew about it for a few months and was able to have enough evidence recently because the woman came forward after Sherrone Moore was harassing her, sending her a bunch of text messages, and took it a step further. Went off the walls, did not handle the firing very well. Give me your thoughts real quick on that before we get to
yeah, real
the
quick, just because we're
candidates.
running out of time. Clearly, mental issues have to deal with this because squandering your dream job over on cheating on your wife, and especially with the Purdue grad. I believe I read she was a Purdue grad, and now she's like a staffer on Michigan. Like, why would you mess with that? Yeah, he just squandered opportunity that would last him several years, set him for life with money. But I mean, if you had to pick a school where that would happen, just given Michigan's track record since the Harbaugh era, I mean, it's very clearly the most corrupt college football program over the last few years. And yeah, them knowing about it for a few months, no one should be surprised about that. But yes, the coaching carousel, there is a major wrench thrown, more like a chainsaw
Yeah,
thrown into the,
yeah,
because to me, them and LSU are very
right.
close.
It's
Probably,
a
I give it to Michigan.
Michigan's
Uh,
the winningest program in college football
yeah,
history. So to me, that's like with the money the Big Ten has, that's a better job even than LSU. And the top candidates who have been based on some reports, Brian Kelly goes back north where he belongs. Kalen DeBoer, he's from South Dakota and was an OC at Indiana, so he's got roots up north. It'd be crazy if he left Alabama for this one, but it's not out of the ordinary here. Lincoln Riley, Jesse Minter, who actually followed Harbaugh to the Chargers, so he could be an option there. Eli Drinkwitz, who just re-upped with Missouri. Jed Fish, who was an assistant at Michigan. And Clark Lee, who was just re-upped with Vandy. All have been rumored to potentially be in the running for this. So crazy stuff. What do you think of those?
Ryan Day, is he? I mean,
No.
Ryan Day, Signetti. I mean, why not? I mean, well, yeah. But it makes sense. I mean, if you're ever going to throw those names out, yes, this or Ohio State would be the jobs where you throw those names out and you wouldn't say you're completely crazy.
All right. We have a few games in the college football playoff, the first round matchups. on Friday and Saturday. And Friday we have a rematch between a couple of SEC schools, Alabama and Oklahoma in Norman. We have a battle of the Irish defeaters, if you will, between Miami and Texas A&M in College Station. And then finally, we've got a couple of G5 potential upset spots at Oxford and Eugene as James Madison plays Oregon and Tulane plays Ole Miss. So best game on the docket, probably Alabama, Oklahoma, especially because they're SEC schools getting another crack at each other. But I'm really interested to see this Miami Texas A&M game.
Yeah, both of those first two matchups are both very intriguing. I mean, Carson Beck was an SEC quarterback for a very good team, so it's not like he's going into an environment he's not used to. So yes, both games should be very good. So yeah, Oklahoma will be the home team for this Alabama matchup. It was reversed last time they played when Oklahoma went into Tuscaloosa and upset the Crimson Tide. So we'll see if the Crimson Tide can reverse that. I actually expect them to do that. Usually, trends have shown in this playoffs when someone says, "Why are they in?" and then they not counting the group of 5 teams, but they show, okay, yeah, we were meant to be here. So I could see that happening. As for the very good scheduling on NFL's part to put their games in the afternoon, evening, because no one's going to want to watch. The only intrigue is that will Ole Miss look slow without Kiffin? Like, will that be interesting? But these two teams have already played each other, and Ole Miss just absolutely steamrolled Tulane earlier in the year. So I don't expect this to be much different. James Madison's kind of a wild card. They played Louisville, lost. It was actually a close game. It said it was a 2-touchdown game, but it was actually close up until the fourth quarter. So I think James Madison maybe should get a little more credit than they are getting, but nevertheless, Oregon's going to win that game easily.
Yeah. Makes you wonder if the G5 should just have their own tournament so we can get.
Well, they obviously deserve. If there is a group of 5 team that deserves it, they need to be in. It's just it shouldn't be an automatic bid.
Like Boise State last year.
Boise State last year clearly deserved to be in. Neither of these teams.
All right, that was a quick campus corner. We're pressed for time. Let's get to our final word. What to watch for? I haven't looked at the basketball games coming up this week. Been really just football mode, but movie-wise, big one, The Housemaid comes out this Friday. Me and my wife are going to go see it on Saturday, so pretty exciting stuff there. But you got any games you're looking forward to?
Well, it's a weird week. It's the weird week of college basketball where there's not much until Saturday because it's finals week. So if you look on the TV slate, not very good games this week. It's either a good team plays nobody, or they play like a quad 4 game. So yeah, it's not very intriguing until Saturday. My final saying is, you might think I just watched the Colts game by this take, but no, I actually watched the Saints-Panthers game as well. Why do coaches still run prevent defense at the end of a game? It has never worked, ever. The only time it can ever work is if there's 5 seconds left and the other team's throwing a Hail Mary. Then it's perfect, yes. Given the Colts, for example, they played an outstanding defensive game all game. Seattle never scored a touchdown. The Darnold JSN, they shut him down from the end zone. That's great. Why did they abandon that principle on that final drive and let's play prevent defense and let's just allow 15-yard chunk plays down the field? Because that works because they only need a field goal to win. Panthers had a touchdown lead over the Saints. What did they do? They only had the Saints to 10 points. Let's back off and just guard the sideline and allow 15-yard chunk plays. Saints march right down the field, tie the game up, and obviously the Saints went on to win. Everyone knows it. Every fan watches it. I know coaches are a million times smarter than fans when it comes to IQ, football IQ. I get that, but come on. Prevent defense and running 4th and 1 from the shotgun are the two things that just grind my gears. And yeah, I don't know if you agree with me, but I've never seen prevent defense work ever.
No, only on Madden. As long as it's on there, it's going to probably stay in the real game. All right, that's the show. This has been the K&L Sports Huddle. Logan Hubert, I'm Cage Kiplinger. May your bets hit, your team not choke, and your stress levels stay manageable, and we'll huddle up next